Hello and welcome to another episode of Showmakers. Today we've JT from the channel Second Thought. Welcome to the show, JT.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hello. We've heard like an alternate view of your YouTube, your story of starting YouTube from Joseph, who you've known. If you listen to the Real Life Lore episode of this podcast, you know that Joseph and JT were like childhood friends or something, and you know, did stuff like that. Maybe you should tell us, JT.
Yeah. Gosh, let's see. Okay. Way back many moons ago. Let's see. I don't know. I was probably like 8th grade, 7th grade. I started a YouTube channel. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was like doing little tutorial videos for editing in Sony Vegas and how to solve a Rubik's Cube and little stupid kid stuff like that. And needless to say, I shut that down pretty quickly. But then back, 2 years ago, about roughly, Joe started his channel, Real Life Lore, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I used to do YouTube. And then his really started to pick up steam and took off. I'm like, okay, that's viable. So I hopped on. I worked at Best Buy at that time. I started a channel, and like probably 7 or 8 months later, I was able to quit my job and do it full time.
It's the American dream.
It was seven months.
Yeah.
You're saying?
Yeah, something like
that. We all started around the same time. Like us four kind of hang out a fair bit. But yeah, I was just looking at your oldest video. It's like a year old now?
Yeah, I had, I think, 7 videos up there that I ended up taking down that are a little bit older by, I don't know, a few weeks, a month, something like that. But they were whiteboard videos. I was explaining like logical fallacies and things like that, because that's kind of how I thought my channel was going to go when I started, was more the philosophy and critical thinking route, which is fun, but I didn't end up doing that.
There's a lot of channels that do that whole skeptic angle.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's really unpleasant, and that's not what I was about. So I was like, that's not fun. I want people to have a good time watching my videos.
So I don't think I've asked this before to you or Joseph, but how did you two actually meet? Did you go to the same school or something?
No, we didn't. We had a mutual friend named Andrew, and he actually runs his own YouTube channel now, Royal Ocean Film Society, which is actually really good. But he went to this particular youth group, and then I think he invited, I don't know if Joe went at that time or not, but one way or another, we both ended up at that youth group one time, and we all met each other, and then the youth group died, and none of us went to it ever again. But we all kept hanging out, so that was that. We all went to different schools, actually. Yeah.
But obviously, you probably, I don't know, you probably know him a lot better now. How often do you guys even see each other? I don't even even know. I mean,
well, we live about half an hour away. I used to live closer, but we typically all get together every week on Wednesdays, and we'll watch a movie and we'll discuss it with Andrew and
very
some other
structured.
people. Yeah, it
very
is
formal.
Kind of falls apart most of the time, but whatever.
Yeah,
ends up being your movie's stupid, bad choice.
Your channel is a bit kind of different than Joseph's or Brian's or mine in that you upload a lot more. Are you still twice weekly?
No, I stopped doing that. I don't know, 4 months ago, something like that.
Okay.
It was just too much, and I didn't want to keep up with it, for one, because I just didn't have any time, and also I didn't think I could put out a video that was high quality enough to allow me to do that. So I switched to one a week.
Yeah.
And I think that's much better structure.
Still a lot.
It is, yeah. And sometimes I'm like, wow, man, I wish I could take more time with these videos. But at this point, I don't get the views for it to be able to support that kind of upload schedule.
Yeah. Do you have anyone that you work with?
No, it's just me. So it's a big workload for weekly videos, but I enjoy it. I really don't like having to rely on other people for anything.
Yeah.
But if I could find the right person to work with me, I would totally jump on it.
Yeah, that's always the hardest step. Like,
yeah.
I feel like everyone says that, like, I'd love for, everyone says I'd love for there to be, like an animator, for example, on my channel.
Yeah.
But I just can't find a good one.
Mhm.
And it is hard to find one that you kind of like trust and, has the same kind of vision as you and all that. So to the point where it's worth having them on the channel rather than just some guy who knows how to use Adobe After Effects.
Yeah.
Or Illustrator or whatever one it is. I don't know how those work. I'm Final Cut Pro. I don't even know what's happening.
Mac boy.
I've been having great success with just finding smaller channels and reaching out and asking if they're interested in helping me make a video. Because that's how I found Mike, who I've talked about 100 times on this podcast. And now on my last video on the Dutch Delta Works, that was an animator from the Netherlands called Sabas. And he did a really great video, job on that video too.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
So like that seems to be a method that's working for me, of just like reaching out to people who are already doing what you want them to do, but just aren't getting the views that they want, and that you can potentially help them down the line to kind of grow their own channel, which is like a kind of mutually beneficial relationship.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I found my animator too, who ran a great channel. But I don't know, he wasn't, I don't think he was uploading enough to make it into a job as much, or I don't know. But now he's like, now he's a full-time animator for my channel, and then he does a little bit of work on Real Life Lore, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Joseph is finally kind of breaking through and allowing other people to help a tiny bit.
That's good.
Not that much, though. He needs to rely on other people more, because there was a time recently where I would receive text from him always at I think 11 a.m. UK time, which is what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's I guess 6 a.m. No, 5 a.m. Dallas time. It's probably wrong. Anyway, it's because he stays up until like 6 in the morning.
That man is a vampire.
Yep.
I don't know how anyone works that hard.
I don't know either. I can't. But it's. I mean, I feel like none of us are working, 9 to 5, 8 hour a day type jobs,
right?
Because for one, it usually takes more time than that. For two, I mean, I find it difficult to actually sit down for like 8 hours at a time and just work.
Yeah. I find it near impossible. Even when I was working for someone else, like I always found that 9 to 5 thing just ridiculous. I'd get in at 9, spend the first half hour just kind of like settling in, and then like work until lunchtime, and then after lunch I might do another 2 hours, and then after that my brain is just like sapped of energy. I can't really do any more creative work. Like I need to go and take like a 2-3 hour break and come back to it. Yeah,
I feel like it's especially true for creative work too, where it's a lot more. I don't know, like you're not gonna, for example, like deciding on a video topic. There are times where I kind of just sit down and dedicate to figuring out video topics, and you're not really gonna, by spending 4 hours one day, you're not going to get the same amount of video topics as spending 30 minutes for 8 days, because it's kind of something that's more passive. Yeah.
What does your kind of research and kind of idea generation thing go like, JT?
Well, I have a list of videos that I've had since really the beginning of, very close to the beginning of my channel when it started to pick up. And they always just kind of come to me. I don't really ever sit down and actively think about topics, because I have a backlog of questions that I am curious about myself. So I'll look into those, and then that'll spark new questions that I'll add to my list. And so I have this big organic, ever-growing list that I rarely ever draw from. Actually, I'll come up with a topic that I'm like, ooh, that's cool, I'm going to do that next week. And so the list is untouched. But
it's kind of like this never-ending cycle of curiosity. That you're just like, it's a cool job to have, in the way that you can just pick something one week and be like, I want to learn about that, and then just like dive into it for a couple of days, learn everything you can, and write a script for it.
Yeah.
Do you tend to always have your ideas as like a question that you want like you personally want to answer, or are there ones that kind of you already know the answer and you know it's going to be interesting?
My channel has a lot of like astronomy stuff because I think that's just the most amazing thing. It's super fascinating. So I have a lot of those questions that I'm pretty solid on. Like I know most of the details. So like the one that I've got coming up this Friday is where are the best places to look for life in our solar system? And I know where they are, but I just love learning about it, that there's always going to be something new that I haven't read. So even if I know the topic pretty well, I mean, you can still always learn something from it. So it's half and half. So there are a lot of videos that I know nothing about, like net neutrality. I knew very little about, and I thought it was interesting. So I did that one. But then for the astronomy one, I know a lot about it, and I just think it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw that 2 weeks ago. We got I guess, no, you had been on camera before, but we got a very heavy on camera one for the first time.
Yeah, and the reason for that, well, first, because I'm tired of being like this disembodied voice that most people think is just the cow. I love the cow, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to be able to relate to my viewers a little bit better, be more of a person. So I decided to try that, and that really the main catalyst for it was because I was on a road trip and I didn't have access to my desktop, so I needed to do less animating and more on-camera stuff because my laptop isn't quite as strong. So that's where that came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, are you going to continue with that? Is this going to trend for your channel?
I'm trying to decide. I'm going to refine it. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll probably introduce the topic and sign off the video on camera with maybe some little bits in between. But I don't think I'll stay with the heavy on camera work. Because when I did that, the response was very good from my viewers, but also people missed the cow. They missed the little stick figures and animation and stuff. So that's what my channel is known for, is the stupid drawings. So I'm going to stick with the stupid drawings, but I'll introduce them.
Yeah.
I think there's a delicate balance there with the on-face stuff. I think some channels use it a bit too much. I think like some of it is just like out of necessity. Like you're on camera and you're being a presenter, you're on location. Like Tom Scott or like Smarter Every Day.
Right.
Like there's a reason for them to be on screen, but sometimes it's just like a presenter standing in front of like a green screen, and they'll show images that they're talking about behind them. And it's essentially what we do with the kind of like on-screen animations or whatever, but then they just kind of throw a face in there for no particular reason. Yeah. I feel it doesn't add anything to the content. I think it distracts from it.
Brian's trash talking PBS.
Yeah.
No comment. Okay, carry on.
No, there's certain PBS shows that do it well. I can't think of any particular one that does it poorly. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Mm-hmm.
I'll shut up. Although I did see a certain someone getting into some Twitter beef with Matthew Santoro recently. And I was like, I think we're riling up for our first educational diss track.
Ooh, that'll be
nice.
Good. Oh well, I'm sorry. I had a diss track made about me. I don't know if I
what
there was a diss. Someone tweeted me a diss track that they made about. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I'm not sure if it's parody or not. I'm not sure if it's satirical or not. And I genuinely mean that, because it seems to be a fairly young, young creator with a bit of a lisp, and I
oh no,
I can't find it. It was an interesting experience.
I'm so jealous.
All press is good press. Actually, I actually kind of forgot about this. I'm surprised I didn't show you. I can't find it immediately. I'll share it with you later. If we had show notes, I would put it in the show notes, but we don't really, because we're not organized enough for that. We're not Hello Internet. We don't organize things.
We're hacks.
But yeah, that happened. But yeah, we should get a. I'd be down for some educational creator beef. It'd be great to expose the genre.
I think it would be the perfect April Fool's thing to do. Just like get some really high quality diss tracks out in each other. Like we've talked about this so much about like a civil war between educational channels. Like
I think Wisecrack was trying to get us to start one. Never came too much to fruition. I think I had like one tweet about it, and then that was it. But we'll get it going eventually. We'll find some dirty things about GT.
Oh boy, don't do that.
That sounded really. You sound really concerned.
I'm not. I'm boring.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on track. With that, I mean, it's obvious with the on-camera video that you did that you actually kind of know what you're doing with a camera, which was clear when we went to Barrow and filmed there, which is pretty unique among us. Most of the time, we're just people that happen to upload a YouTube video once and then decide that we need to learn how to use a camera. But you've actually been doing stuff like that for a while, isn't that right?
Yeah. Andrew, the guy who introduced Joe and me, when we were in 7th grade, he had a little camcorder. So he would go out into his backyard and shoot stupid little home movies or like little videos. And they were funny, but they were just absolute garbage. But that's when I picked up a camera, and I thought it was really cool. And I ended up going to college for that. I went for journalism and mass communication, broadcast concentration with a film production minor. So I had a lot of experience working with cameras. But After Effects was the new thing to me. Actually, I didn't know anything about it until I did my, let's see, which one was it? Weirdest Things to Fall from the Sky video, something like that. Whichever one of my first videos had the cow, I think. Anyway, yeah. But cameras, I've always found them fascinating and a lot of fun. So it's kind of second nature to me.
Have you found how useful basically has the journalism major been? Oh boy, grammar. Do you recommend?
Tell you.
Yeah.
You okay, Sam? Are you okay?
Yeah, for the most part.
Need a sip of water. So
we're all right.
I don't want to rail on anybody who goes to school for journalism. That being said, my experience with going to school for journalism was a complete waste of time. It might be kind of fun while you're doing it, and it might be different at other schools, but where I went, it's a expensive, pretty well-renowned school, and their methods are outdated. Their cameras were obsolete when I got there. I was teaching half the classes by my second semester, so it's like, if you're good with writing or with a camera, go out and shoot stuff or write stuff and go to your local newspapers or stations and say, hey, check this out. What do you think? Give me some criticism. Because otherwise you're going to probably spend a whole lot of money to learn stuff that you already have a pretty good grasp on. And then when you get out, journalism's either going to be dead or so hated that you won't want to pursue it.
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah, pretty much. So I got kind of disenchanted with the idea of reporting and journalism because, I mean, I know there's good news out there. There are great sources for information, but the way people see anyone who reports the news is as a horribly biased, sleazy individual one way or the other. This political divide has really done a number on the journalism industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's more like a fault of the actual industry itself rather than like the education system, you think?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think it's definitely a mix. I think the underlying problem is this rift in America, particularly for the media, any kind of journalism. But it's hard to say that classes that teach print journalism are doing students a favor, and even radio, because a lot of places are RTVF, radio and television film. And radio is basically dead. I don't know a single person who listens to the radio except for maybe the classical station, which I do, which is awesome. But I don't know. It's fun. Do you need it? I don't think so. I don't think a journalism degree is nearly as useful as like a STEM degree or anything like that, the hard sciences. Because there's nothing in journalism that you can't learn online.
And even then, I think I would personally think going to, it's particularly in America where it's so expensive, going to university when there isn't like a clear path to an actual job that you need a degree for, like massive investment for no guarantee on return.
Absolutely.
But like even if something like engineering or something, if you could just learn it yourself and come out the other end without doing all the ridiculous things that you have to do in college for engineering, I think you'd probably be better off it too. Like if you're capable of self-learning and just if someone gives you like, okay, these are the things you need to know, you'd be set.
Yeah.
Like that basically was college. Like I just taught myself, barely went to most of the lectures because they were kind of boring and not well curated in my university. I don't know. University is a weird thing, I find.
It's hit or miss for a lot of people.
Yeah. With the internet anyways.
If someone has a dream to become an educational YouTuber, you would not recommend a journalism major.
That is 100% correct.
What would you recommend?
Oh, I hesitate to give people advice because I did everything wrong. But get a job while you're young, while you're in high school. Get a feel for it. If you're not interested in a hard science, in my opinion, I think it would probably be better to try to get a leg up going into the workforce early before all your friends. Because getting out of school, even my friends with degrees, like a buddy of mine who lives down the road from me, engineering degree from Colorado School of Mines, great school. He worked at
that's like
PetSmart.
The best engineering school.
Yeah. He works at PetSmart. It's ridiculous. Like there are even when you have a degree, a good degree, it's no guarantee these days in America that you're going to get even a decent paying job or even a job in your field. In this case, so when you see stuff like that and you see it happening a lot, like I can name maybe 2 of my friends who went to college and got a job in their field. I have a hard time recommending it, especially if you're paying for it. If you can go to school on a scholarship or pay a reasonable amount and not go into huge amounts of debt like a lot of students do, then I'd say probably go for it. I think college is a good experience socially, if not in the educational sense. But a lot of times it is. I'm probably a little jaded, but I know some people get a lot out of university. I just wasn't one of them.
Yep. Go to college in Germany, and then it's free.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you know German. So learn German.
In Germany, they have one of the lowest rate of people actually going to college. Like huge amounts of people go and do apprenticeships in Germany too.
Yeah.
Which it's like they don't have the stigma that you have to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Ireland, I think Ireland has one of the highest rates of people going to university. Like the idea of going to an apprenticeship is extremely stigmatized here.
Yeah,
like your parents would just force you into university for no particular reason
because
it's not that expensive here. I think it's expensive now. I think it's like $3,000, $4,000 a year, which is still way cheaper than America.
I was going to say, geez, lucky you.
But I think that's the 3rd most expensive in Europe.
Wow.
This episode of Showmakers was made possible by Storyblocks. Storyblocks is the absolute best place to get stock video, images, and audio for your videos or podcasts. Unlike other providers, Storyblocks works on a subscription model where you can download any one of their 500,000 assets for an exceptionally reasonable $149 a year. If you've ever looked for stock video, you know that $149 is what you normally pay for one clip, not 1 year of unlimited clips. That would be an amazing price for just their video library, but the yearly subscription also includes stock images and audio. Storyblocks is offering you the ability to try all this out for 7 days for free by heading over to storyblocks.com/showmakers. If you make videos, there's really no reason you shouldn't sign up for this free trial because, at the very least, it will improve your videos for 1 week. Once again, that's storyblocks.com/showmakers to get access to 500,000 videos, images, and audio clips for free for 7 days. Yeah. Well, in Germany, you can go to college for free, even as a foreigner, which is why it's so nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you have to be able to speak German.
Yeah.
Presumably, maybe. I don't know. They might have a lot of business schools teaching English.
Okay.
I can count to like
Good
4 and
know
know the word for butterfly. That's about all my German.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. Schmetterling.
Why? Why do you know that?
I don't know. I think it was a meme on Reddit. It was like all these languages have beautiful words for butterfly, and then German is just Schmetterling.
Yeah. I think it was a video.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting scenario in the United States right now where we're pretty well off overall as a country, where parents can say, all right, you're going to grow up and you're going to go to school and you're going to get a great job. And that's just not the case anymore. There are just so many students. The market's oversaturated. So we'll have to see what happens.
Really, you just got to go into computer science, and then you pretty much have a guaranteed
There you
job.
go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like textbook way to earn, $100,000 within 5 years of graduating.
Yeah.
So
Find your niche.
Yep. Or become a pilot, because there's a huge pilot shortage, except then you need about $100 to $150 for training. I'm sorry, a little more than that, actually. $150,000.
I was going to say, all right, cool.
All right,
How's
sign me
that
up.
plane fetish going, Sam?
Pretty good. I finally will have, I uploaded this week, another plane video. So I'll finally have about 2 weeks before I'll start getting harassed to do another one.
You're leaking into my videos as well now.
Yeah, well, also literally cannot, within the first 10 comments on any video, there's something about Toyota Corollas. We're going to have a discussion with Joseph, because it's becoming absurd.
It's too late. He's a meme.
This needs to stop.
At least you don't have, I think my most common one is people, even when I'm not talking about cars, people making fun of the way I'm talking about cars. It's like, God damn it. This is my meme. Car.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Should have thought about that before you were Irish.
Yeah. Why'd you do that?
I don't know what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get any comments like that, JT?
Oh, God. Any video that there's not the cow, people just rail on me for not putting the cow in the video. I'm like,
what's the deal with the cow? How did he come up with that? I
used it in one video early on, and it was the weirdest things to fall from the sky, and one of them was a cow. And so I put the cow in the video, just like on fire, falling from the sky, and people loved it. And so I was like, oh, okay, they like the cow. So I used it in another video. And then it kind of just snowballed from there, and people started requesting it, and now it's kind of the unofficial mascot of my channel. So, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, why does the cow look so concerned? But then you answered my question for me.
Yep, that's why. Because he was falling from the sky.
Makes sense. You need to make some cow T-shirts.
I'm thinking about it. I definitely want to, especially my NASA cow. I like that one.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. I want it. I'll buy it.
Heck yeah. I'll sign it for you.
One sale.
Do you have any merch?
I don't. And actually, I've asked Dave to hook me up with, what is it, DFTBA? Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody knows who Dave is on here, but Dave's a guy.
Dave's a guy. Dave's a great guy.
He's a guy we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm working on it.
Well, nobody can really expect to make any money with merch, at least
no.
in educational stuff.
Unless you're gray or someone, or
basically unless you're gray.
Brian, I've seen a lot of your shirts around on the interwebs. Like,
did you see which ones are you talking about?
The what's his name? Whichever Paul it was.
Logan Paul.
Yeah,
that was so weird. I started getting messages from people. I'm like, who out of my viewers is watching Logan Paul? What's going on there?
Well, Brian,
that doesn't seem like a Venn diagram that's going to have a very wide intersection. But I started getting comments from people saying that was that your T-shirt in Logan Paul? And it was just Logan Paul harassing some guy with a big afro. I think he started putting stuff into the guy's afro and pulling it out.
That's obnoxious.
Last night, I just I'm in the U.S. right now visiting family. So I got in last night, and my little brother, who's like, 14, 15, something like that, came up very excitedly, showed me on YouTube that he saw your shirt in a vlog. And the real takeaway from that was not that he saw the T-shirt, but that he's watching Logan Paul's vlogs, which is the concerning part. But it's good exposure. And also, apparently, it was just some random guy on the street, which is like crazy coincidence. I guess it is LA, but
there's only how many? Like 70 of them out in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not like that's
a big coincidence.
Lot. Yeah.
I'm starting to think it's set up. Got to be someone within YouTube.
It was me.
Well,
I orchestrated the whole thing. I whispered it into his ear at the party at VidCon. It's like, hey Logan, use my T-shirt in a vlog.
And then he was just like, yeah. 6 months later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was
cool.
That's how it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool story.
All right. Think of a question, Brian. Advance the conversation.
Do you like hot dogs, JT?
Oh boy, don't get me started. No, I don't like hot dogs. I do not. I'm not a fan of tube steak. Oh, that's a question.
Oh goddamn.
Well,
no. Who came up with that recently? Hank Green. It's like they decided to start abandoning opinions they have on things, which I actually loved because we have so many opinions on things, and he decided to abandon his opinions on hot dogs.
Oh,
this is
cool. This
conversation has gone down a random road, and I don't know how to get out of it.
It's your fault. What is? Do you have any? What are your hopes and dreams for the Second Thought channel, JT? What's next? What are you? What's your big project? What's happening?
Wow. Great question. I don't know. Really, all I want to do now, I want to find the right balance for my content. I want to find out how much I want to be on camera. And then the thing that I've had trouble with my channel is I don't really have a niche like either of you guys do. I mean, Brian, engineering, Sam, airplanes. I'm just messing. But people, when people ask me like, "What's your channel about?" I'm like, science and space and cows. And so I want to have like an elevator pitch for my channel. So I've realized I need to kind of refine the vision for my content. So that would be my biggest short-ish term goal, I think. Yeah.
I guess you need like, no, not really a series, but like a series of content that, see what works well, see what people are into. I mean, you kind of have the astronomy thing going. But like there are so many channels out there that do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's hard to be that guy. Whereas like, Brian's, I mean, there are not that many engineering channels out there. So Brian's kind of that guy.
Yeah.
In this case, you do want to be that guy.
Yeah. I used to hate having the niche. Well, not hate. Like I loved it at the start, and then I started feeling a bit confined by it.
Yeah.
But now I'm just doubling down. Like,
it works.
Trying to appreciate the fact that I have it. But I think a part of that, of not even having a theme, like Joseph doesn't have a theme. He just asks weird fucking questions. But like it's kind of having a defined visual style as well. It's a brand. You're basically trying to build a brand.
Yeah.
Whether you want to acknowledge it or not.
I mean, and you do have a visual style.
Yeah, the cow and his buddies are my thing, and that's what people know about my channel. But I'm very bad about if I'm having trouble coming up with how to express something with cows and stick figures and stuff like that. I will turn to stock footage really quickly, and there's nothing wrong with stock footage. But for my channel, I think if I use too much of that, it kind of waters down my content. But it's finding the right mix, I think.
Yeah.
When it's illustrating a point, the stock footage works well. Like I try as much as possible that if I'm using stock footage, it's showing the specific thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Rather than just throwing in random. There's a lot of channels that do that. They just they're talking over. I mean, there's channels that just talk over gameplay of like Call of Duty and stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, but sometimes you really do just need filler. Sometimes there are moments where, like, there's nothing visually that kind of goes with that, or at least not that you're going to have stock footage of, or you can really animate. There's some things that just don't easily show on screen. So sometimes you do have to have something kind of vaguely just related,
generic. Yeah,
generic. It is a struggle, especially as you do longer and longer videos. There's less that you can kind of animate, especially when you're doing like more of a deep dive into a topic.
Yeah.
So there's kind of more filler space. So you're gonna, like as we talked about earlier, the on-screen personality channels, they basically use the talking head as the filler. So that's kind of like where they'll use the talking head as filler. We'll kind of use stock footage as filler. I guess the difference and why I prefer this kind of style is that the stock footage, even if it is kind of filler, it can advance the point and show. I feel like showing the real video makes something feel concrete rather than more of an even if you're talking about something very concrete. If you're just animating it, it might not feel as much like a concrete. It might feel more like an abstract topic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to actually use my camera and everything else, because I want to ultimately become more of like a proper documentary channel.
Nice.
And like use my own footage. Like the last one, the Dutch Delta Works, there was a bit of my own footage in that, and then the one before that had a bit of footage from the museum. And like it makes you feel more ownership over the video when you have your own footage in it, rather than just animations.
So back to a YouTube question. This is a personal / YouTube question. JT, are you coming to VidCon Europe?
I'd love to. Yeah.
Do it.
If I can swing it. Absolutely.
Book your tickets now.
Oh, wow, they're already
November
on sale.
March 21st, 20-something to something, 20-something.
That's very specific.
Yeah, roughly. In Amsterdam.
It'll be fun. This year they got rid of all the community track.
Oh, okay.
Which I think was a good call. They got a lot of flack for that.
But just for Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine that would go over well in the States.
No. Well, like they do it in the States because loads of people buy tickets.
Exactly. Yeah.
They did, like, I don't think Hank actually listened to the podcast, but they were overly ambitious with the European one, and they should have invited more local creators. There are too many Americans. No offense.
I agree.
Like, it's like the reason, I think one of the main reasons they're not doing it a community track this year is because the Dutch creators got pissed off that they weren't invited, and they organized their own event that actually got locals coming. And like, if you're going to have an event in Amsterdam, you should be inviting Dutch creators. Like, that will get locals to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I found it a bit odd.
Yeah, I also think it makes sense because that's pretty much what it was last year. There were very few, at least the ratio, it was maybe 50-50 creators, fans, whereas VidCon Amsterdam is like 90-10 at best. So it was pretty, there was definitely a heavy skew towards the creator side last year anyway. And this way, they'll just be able to focus on making that aspect really good, which will be nice. I'm interested to hear, I don't know if I've heard if they're doing because I heard that VidCon Australia was very successful, actually. Like, they sold out and everything, which is surprising since it's kind of a, much less populous place. But
well, I don't, like, Melbourne is pretty well populated. I think that was more of like, it's an English speaking country. Like, a lot of the people they invited were popular in Australia, and that kind of cultural thing. I don't know what the Dutch are like for stuff like that, but I think if they had it in Ireland or the UK or like Scotland or Wales or something, a lot more people would have come.
I mean, but like, plenty of people came from, it's not really any farther to get to,
but like, think of VidCon US, like, the majority of the people there were teenagers
from LA.
They're not going to be, and they're not going to be allowed to travel to like Amsterdam, especially Amsterdam. Like, what parent is going to send their kid to Amsterdam? Like, drugs and prostitutes. Like,
I guess London.
There's a lot more to Amsterdam than that. But
London could make sense, but I feel like Amsterdam's kind of a cooler city, and it's probably a lot cheaper for them to run it there than London.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And there are already ones in London as well.
Yeah, that's also true. I'm sure, like, the conference centers in London are probably wildly expensive, as London is. But yeah, I'll be interested to see it, and I'm looking forward to definitely. You heard it here. I'm pretty sure he said I'm definitely coming to VidCon Europe.
Yeah, quote me on that. I definitely might go to VidCon Europe.
Definitely might.
That's easy to cut out the might there. Well, our editor will get on that. And
definitely dramatic pause. Go to VidCon Europe.
I will definitely go to VidCon Europe.
Nice.
And you guys can all see him there. And are you going to drive with your car?
Yeah, I'll just drive it right over.
Yeah. So you can see where he is based off the big Second Thought sticker on the side. And
what?
Make sure.
Why did you decide to drive from Texas all the way up to LA for VidCon US?
Well, because our good friend Joseph from Real Life Lore said this will be fun.
And was it fun?
It was. I mean, it was kind of fun. We
didn't you guys do it in like one stop?
Yes, that is correct.
God.
Yeah,
God,
that is correct.
Why would you put yourself through that?
Well, we're not going to do it again. I'll tell you that. But I mean, you got to drive to California once.
Do you?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I may have changed my opinion since that drive, but I've done it,
Well,
so now it doesn't matter.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long does that take? Like 20 hours?
Yeah, something like that. 22 hours.
Insane. Like, there's nowhere in Ireland you could drive for more than 4 hours, I think.
That's
You
crazy.
put on a roundabout.
I had like 4 11-hour, 12-hour days on this road trip to visit family. It was 44 hours total driving.
I think that's the more than I've ever driven in my life.
Yeah, it was something. It was fun, but I was done with my car for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we're doing the house in LA again, I definitely want to get the Camaro again.
That was a nice car.
Oh man, I miss it so much. Like, they're so cheap over there too. It's insane. What Camaros are what, like 40 grand?
It depends on the
that's
model.
not cheap.
Yeah, I think you can get one for 30.
You got to get the big boy model with the biggest displacement with the manual, not the little one.
Big old V8.
Yeah.
Like, they're just so fun. Like, you can't, I was driving, you get what was I driving in Amsterdam? I rented out. Rentals are my weakness. Like, it's the only thing I spend stupid money on. Like, I'm pretty conservative with my money, but when it comes to rentals, I'm just like, oh. But I got a BMW 420D, and it was no fun. It's like twice the price of that car, and there was no fun in it.
Yeah.
It's like very pedestrian, like good top speed, but no acceleration in it at all. It's like,
Yeah, that's what Americans
I'd
are
rather
good
take
at.
the Camaro.
Big, stupid, really powerful cars, and I love it.
Yeah. And cheap as well. Like, I never would have thought those things would be cheaper than, I always expected them to be about the same price or something.
Yeah. Well, you can get them. I mean, top of the line Camaro, I think it's pushing 70, like the top of the line Mustang.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, spec'd out and with all the bits and pieces and stuff. But yeah, they can get pricey.
I really want to start a car review channel.
Oh man,
But-
let me join you. A car.
Car. That I think it'll be disaster from the start of me just going like, in today's car,
I love it.
I'll just spell the channel like car.
How would you even spell that?
K-A-R.
Oh.
Car? I don't know.
I think there's an I in there somewhere. Yeah.
I'm curious on how channels like that actually start. Like, it must be really difficult to start a review channel. Like, the amount of investment you'd need in it. Like, because you don't just get started. Like, say Marquez, like, he didn't just start with iPhone or Apple sending him the iPhone 10 before launch.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get to a certain level where they'll start sending you preview models and sending you stuff for free.
Especially with cars, you're like, hey, go up to the dealership and like, hey, let me drive your Diablo.
Yeah.
I think that's
Doesn't really
called a
work like
test
that.
drive.
Yeah, but see, like,
Let me drive it fast
can't
with a
just-
camera.
Sure.
Yeah. And like, you'd have to come to some sort of mutually beneficial. I know with Doug Morano, is that his name? He's like one of the big
Yeah.
car review channels. And like he does a good job of reviewing the cars, but I find they all have the same kind of boring presentation style where they just kind of like have the car there and they kind of show the inside, show the outside, and they stand in front of it and talk about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space there for that to be improved for production value, and it takes a tiny bit of extra effort to do a few drone shots, like a bit more cinematic, put a bit of color correction on it, put some music over it. Like, it doesn't take a lot to make that, to just completely blow those channels out of the water.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, thanks everyone for listening to the least on topic episode of Showmakers ever, where we talked about YouTube for maybe 10 minutes and talked about whatever.
No one steal my car review channel idea.
You've got
you just said you were going to start a car review channel with good graphics. So I don't know. I don't know if it's that unique. No offense, but I mean, okay. Make sure to check out Second Thought at, I assume, youtube.com/Second Thought.
You know, it was, but then I don't think it is anymore.
Okay, well then go to youtube.com and search Second Thought, and hopefully it'll show up.
Hang on. I got it. It's youtube.com/channel/UCJM2TGUQK1_N. Okay, I'm going to stop now.
I picked that because it was super convenient.
Yeah. Just rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else to say, JT?
I don't think so.
No?
Enjoy the cow.
Enjoy the cow.